told me that, I was peeved because somebody told me at the end of Mario Brothers 3 they all went out for pizza, like Mario, Luigi, and the princess, and like that. And I was like, oh, what happens at the end? And that's what they told me.
I don't think so.
No, they don't.
No.
It's basically, it's kind of cool though. It's like this cool song plays and it shows you like each world.
Yeah.
Kind of, it's like, you know, do you remember World 3 and all that?
It sort of gives you a retrospective of the game.
I think World 3 was my favorite because that was the swimming one.
World 3?
Yeah. Well, because World 1 was just the beginning one.
Just the basic.
There was nothing really special. World 2 was the desert. 3 was the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
World 4 was the big world.
I think it was, the giant world.
Yeah, World 5 was that weird one that was like, you played half of it on the lower level, and then you went in the castle all the way up, and then you were in the clouds for the second half of it. 6 was the ice world.
Yeah, it was like the sky world, I think is what it was.
6 was the ice world.
Oh yeah, 7 was the pipe world, I think.
World.
Which was
Actually,
hard.
7 I thought was cool as well, but it was so difficult.
Yeah, it was really
because that was the one where like you had that level which was just all pipes.
Yeah. And
so you go up a pipe and you go like all the way up forever, and then you realize you were in an enclosed room.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you have
Dead
to
end.
And then you have to remember which pipe it was you've already tried, because you'd have to go out of the room at one point, and then you have a time limit, and
yep. And then World 8.
Yeah, it was
just hell.
Yes. I remember I actually sat down and went to play all the way through it.
Yeah.
A while ago, ages ago.
Yeah.
And I think I got to like World 6.
Mm-hmm.
It was like one Saturday morning.
Yeah.
I was just playing through, so I'd love to sit down and play through it. Because I think I have it. I think I have Super Mario All-Stars for the Super NES.
Oh, yeah?
So it's basically everything's all the same. It's just slightly better graphics.
Cool.
With the Super Nintendo.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You do have Super Mario All-Stars, because I remember I used to play it on your system all the time. That one also has Super Mario The Lost Levels, which is the original Japanese version of Super Mario 2.
Yeah,
which
and that's
is like
the weird one that we got.
Yeah, no, it's like an insanely difficult version of the original Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah, I never really played it much.
It's hard. Like, I know a lot of people who can't even get past the first world. It's so hard.
Oh.
And these are, fairly old school gamers who are really good at the original. But the first one is so hard. It's like almost all bottomless pits and tiny little ledges, and right from the beginning, like, I don't know how you can finish it. I found out something interesting about that, though, recently. Apparently, you remember the VS games? There's like NES games in the arcade. So it'd be like versus Hogan's Alley or versus Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah.
So I remember seeing versus Super Mario Brothers in the arcade, and I just assumed it was the same as the home version. And it is, but some of the levels have been replaced with versions from the Japanese Super Mario 2. So like the super hard versions. So I guess to make the arcade version harder and to make you pump more quarters into it.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a guy on Retro Junk, which is a website that I frequent
I've
fairly
been
often.
there a bunch too, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I've been visiting forums quite a bit there. And, having some good conversations, reminiscing about different things, and helping different people remember stuff. And there was a guy who actually did a list of all the worlds, and all the levels within the worlds, and whether or not they were the original Super Mario Brothers or the Lost Levels versions for the arcade version. And there was quite a difference. Like, some of the worlds had been completely replaced with the Lost Levels versions. Others had been just sort of partially replaced. Like, you'd get, say World 1 would be like all from Super Mario Brothers except for the last one.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be a Lost Levels version and stuff like that. And then some of the worlds were completely replaced. But it was interesting. I had no idea until I read that post that that there was such a huge difference between them in terms of the level structure. So it's kind of interesting.
I'd love to sit down and play through the original, because I've always ever done the warp whistles.
Oh, really?
Or not the warp whistles, but that was Mario 3. No, the thing where if you there's that little gap in the underground level where you can jump up and run along the top of the bricks.
Oh, right.
Past the exit
to the warp zones.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's another warp zone somewhere. There's like 2 warp zones, I think, that if you do it right, you can go right to the end, like right away.
Something like that, yeah.
Like right to World 8, anyway.
Well, I know you could do that in Super Mario Brothers 3.
Yeah.
Because you could collect the 2 warp whistles in the first world.
Yeah.
I think there was 3 in the game in total. Because there's another one that was in a later world that you could get.
Yeah.
later on. But no, if you found the 2 that were in the first world, then you could go, and when you hit the thing to warp, it would put you on, like, you could go to world 2, 3, or 4. If you hit it while you were on that screen, then you would go down to 8.
You would take you to the next.
Something like that.
Yeah, I remember that. There was like a trick where if you warped from the warp zone,
yes,
you could get to another warp zone that would take you right to the end of the game.
Yeah, people didn't know that. They said in the I'll just pick one and activate the second one. It would only put you on that second line, so you could choose 5, 6, or 7.
Oh, right. So that was the trick to get straight to the end.
To warp in the warp.
Yeah.
And then
sneaky.
Well, it's like that video, and I've watched the whole thing. The guy who beat Super Mario Brothers 3 in 11 minutes.
Yeah, I've watched that one too. That's
Unbelievable.
pretty impressive.
Well, there's literally a limit as to how fast you can go because
yeah.
in the
well, because there's certain things that you just
where it's
can't
scrolling.
skip.
Yeah.
Yeah, where it's scrolling, or going down the pipes, or the whole like end of level thing. You can't really skip that. So.